All right, all right, all right. Transparency in the chair, let me tell you, has nothing to do with hair, but stories that derive from the chair.
My name is Rae. My co-pilot is Kay. We are two hairstylists with over 50 years of combined industry experience, ownership, platform artistry, salon education, and mentorship. We are both two sages that have stories to tell.
All right, and you know how juicy it can get. It could be any chair. Think about any chair that you sit on. There's a story in the chair.
With authentic and transparent moments, we are bringing you the juice to you, along with our perspectives, of course.
This is what we're bringing to you every week with confidence and knowledge and nuggets that you will leave this podcast with so much inner feelingness, so much knowledge, so much power, empowerment. So tune in every week and we're going to drop the nuggets on you with special guests from time to time. So don't miss out. Join in to Transparency in the Chair.
What is up?
Oh, the juice.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but I'm excited.
Me too.
We have a lot to unpack today. Friend.
Yes, we
because
do.
Again, what's been going on in the world
Yes.
and what needs to be addressed is what we're doing today.
That's what we're doing today.
I'm excited about this topic. I'm anxious about this topic,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's a necessary topic.
It's very necessary.
Yes.
And today we have a special guest that's more than appropriate, more than qualified to help us unpack these issues. May I introduce to you Dr. Sam, clinical psychologist.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it is an honor
Thanks
to have
so
you here
much.
today. I'll say that.
I say
What's our topic? I got my juice ready.
the topic of today: am I stressed
Mm,
or am I suffering from anxiety?
Yeah.
good.
I don't know which is the difference.
Yes.
I don't know what that feels like, and I feel like I need some help with that,
There you go.
Okay.
as
All right.
well
that's
as
good.
our friends out in the clinical world, the real
Yeah.
world. We need help.
We need help.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say the definitions first, what the
Yes,
Google
go for it.
says. I'm a
Okay.
fact checker.
Fact checker.
Fact checker. Anxiety is a feeling of fear, dread, and uneasiness that can be a normal reaction to stress. Oh, okay, so they're related. Stress, however, is the body's reaction to a perceived threat or challenge and can be defined as a state of mental tension or worry.
Mm.
All right, so Dr. Sam,
Yes.
please break it down. And
Yes.
In
Okay.
layman's terms.
yes,
Right. So for sure, there's a lot of intersectionality with them. It's hard to differentiate between the two, right? However, there is in the clinical sense how, for instance, if I were to diagnose someone with anxiety, there's a difference. So, for instance, we tend to look at the time frame. How long
Mhm.
is this stress lasting?
oh, okay.
So if you find yourself weeks at a time, breathing hard, shaking, unable to concentrate, we want to know how long is that lasting so that there can be some type of support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stress, we have that on the daily. It definitely depends on how we deal with it or handle it. So for instance, when I get up, for instance, I wear like a watch that kind of matches like my heartbeat or whatnot.
Mhm.
And when I jump up and I'm getting ready to do something, I notice my heart kind of jumps too with me.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the natural stress. That's our body getting up, preparing. Like I'll hear the dogs bark and I'm like, oh, and heart jump.
Right.
So those are like stressor type response.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the major difference is that our body tends to go back to stability or normality.
Okay.
Whereas if your anxiety is peaking to the point where it's up here, but then it never comes down, that's when we start to see the decline
Okay.
in just the everyday things, forgetting things, not even being able to like finish a sentence or a thought. Like literally your brain is in a turmoil. And then there's so many other little things in between that, which is why it's so important that as people just trying to understand ourselves in general,
Mhm.
we need to step out and talk to someone about that and get that support you need.
Okay.
Whether or not it's with your doctor, your
Mhm.
primary care, or you're connecting with a therapist.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
if that makes sense.
It does. That does make sense.
It
That does
does.
make sense because for me, after my mom died
Mm,
back in 2020, I already had problems sleeping. But after she died, my patience was shorter. I was like, I'm normally like the people pleaser at with my clients.
right.
I mean, they was asking, I was like, no, you can't. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, it was as if in the back of my head, life is short. stop playing with these people. Stop trying to
Right.
kiss butt or make them feel, girl, you can't get this today. Now, I wasn't rude about it, but when I started getting snappy, that's when I noticed. I'm like, okay, that's not my character.
Right.
Bring it
Right.
down, because we're always telling our coworkers and our assistants, don't bring your bad energy in here. These people don't want to hear all of that. You leave it at the door. They coming in, they want the energy, they want that. But I noticed, as the business owner in the salon, I was snappy, doing the things that I don't like them to do. And I was like, okay. Then I noticed I already wasn't sleeping well. But I mean, I was like every hour on the hour looking at the clock. It's 1 a.m. It's 2 a.m. It's 3 a.m. And I was like, I got to do something about this, because then you're compiling lack of sleep onto attitude.
Right.
I'm snappy, and I just wasn't a good person.
Right. And there's another thing that I want to point out you said is really important, is that there's a physical ailment. So if we are feeling the physical ailments of lack of sleep, then we're getting sick, then we have headaches, then we have all these bodily aches.
Yes.
That absolutely is going to compound the anxiety and the stress. And then it's going to come to a point you're like, I'm having a little bit of a breakdown, not quite sure where it's coming from.
Right.
Because it makes sense if you're not taking the time to actually do what's called self-care.
Right.
How many of us actually do
Hello.
that? I am actually a huge... I have my issues with that as well. I do. I'm very much a go-getter. Let's get things done.
Absolutely.
But then sometimes I have to remember when I am starting to recognize within me my own body signals, which the watch is amazing to let me know, like, oh my God, I'm at 117 heartbeat. Whoa.
Yeah.
Something. And that also goes also for your thoughts. Like, I did a little experiment on myself. I thought of something that really made my heart beat, and my heart started racing.
Oh.
So it doesn't have to always be like I'm running or I'm jumping and pushing things. It could just be your thoughts.
And what's
as
the normal?
well.
What's the normal heartbeat for the
You know what? Honestly,
I know it's different for everybody.
it is different for
A
everyone.
little kid is
I
gonna
think
be
in the 70s it's probably
Just
pretty
your-
normal.
Yeah, what you're resting, whatever your resting is, depending on what that is, looking at that. If it goes above that, we
Then it's,
definitely need to
yeah.
look what's going on within you. That definitely, we never realize how powerful our thoughts are until that happens, and then we're like, what?
Right.
in
Yeah.
the world?
I don't want
happening?
to. I don't want to wear a watch because I'll probably be like Yang Yang twins. Yang, all that. Yeah, no.
It's gonna be going off every
All
second.
day. Probably
to
like,
tell
red
me.
alert, calm down.
I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
You need to charge your watch up before the end of the day.
Yes.
It's not gonna make it.
mid-morning. It didn't even make it to the middle of the morning.
Oh Lord.
You know, for me, I feel like now, as a salon owner and a business owner and stuff like that, and a mentor and all of that, we have a pretty substantial size salon with staff, and a lot comes my way. And so lately, in the past few years, I'm sitting there like one of the times was like, I was having anxiety and I didn't even know it, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, really? So I'm sitting there saying, self, is that me too? Like, I can feel people's energy.
Right.
And so when my client is sitting in the chair and then have people around that's coming to me to ask me different questions of, hey, what do I do with this and that? Now the mentoring part of it comes in, and everybody's kind of like in my area.
Yes.
I feel my clients' energies, some of them kind of like, okay,
It's
almost like they're
live.
saying to me, like, I wish these people would go away.
Because this is my time.
Right.
Right.
But at the same time, they're there for a reason also to get some information from me.
And they know that
you
too.
know?
Yeah, but
and
still.
so it's kind of like, okay, so then I feel myself like,
Yes.
oh Lord, let me help me
I'm
get
taking
this
on so
going.
much.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm taking on too much. Like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, okay. So then I do this little number, like, like,
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because I'm feeling the
Yeah.
client's energy, although they're not going to say
Yeah.
anything,
Right.
but I could feel that going on, which then compiles onto me.
Right.
And so in my mind, I'm sitting there like, I always think I could talk myself off a ledge, personally. So I'll be sitting there like, girl, that's not you. Calm down.
You talking to yourself.
I'm talking
Yes,
to myself
absolutely.
like,
Oh, I've
calm
done that
down.
before. I've done that
Okay,
Yeah.
breathe, because then I
That's-
find myself like, okay, yeah.
That's a great strategy.
And I'm getting very, so I'm sitting here like literally talking myself off like,
Yeah.
okay, calm down. Don't take,
Mhm.
control the situation. You are in control of the situation and this and the other. So I'm like, it's a temporary moment. So is that more of a stress or is it more of an anxiety that I'm having at the time? Or what does that look like?
Right.
Compiled with, depends on what else I've done heard before I got to work,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever,
Right.
whatever is going on in my personal life,
Right.
then it's kind of like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's hard to get stuff done, because we're at work all day.
Right.
And then you're trying to squeeze in your little errands plus what's going on in
Yes.
front of you,
Yes.
plus all that. So sometimes it gets to be like,
Yeah, too much.
okay, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the best way to know that your anxiety is actually something where it needs to have a word, like a word, anxiety, I'm diagnosed with anxiety, is if it is interrupting just your daily ability to handle life.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you find yourself, like for instance, I have anxiety and I was actually diagnosed with anxiety. I get to the point where my brain can't function. Like I'll have to pull over.
Wow.
Like tight because my thoughts are rushing, my
Wow.
body's reacting to the thoughts,
Yes.
and I'm having to make sure I step away from that ledge as
Right.
well. And we all, but developing those coping strategies, not everyone gets that. We've been taught in this culture to, even if you're feeling anxious or just keep going.
Right.
That you
Push
weak.
through it.
If you weak,
Yeah.
if you don't get pushed
Yeah.
through.
Right.
Get yourself together.
Yes, get it together, right?
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I've heard that all my life, so that's what I got into that place. But then I also started to deal with a lot of physical ailments as well because of the fact that I was not handling my stress in a correct manner.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just a lot to say in a sense that how do we know when to stop ourselves?
That part.
And that's
Yeah.
it's individualistic, but at the same time, there's so many strategies in which you can do. Which you did a good job when you said, "I just had to talk to myself." That's actually a great coping mechanism. But then there are times when you're pushing yourself too hard, and you feel like the coping mechanism isn't in real time working. So it's almost like you have to step back, and it's hard when you've got so many things lined up and so many people depend on you. It is really hard to step back.
Yeah. I think for me sometimes too, well, okay, this is gonna be a 2-part question, so I'm gonna come back to the second part. So if I know I'm going to have a stressful day,
Yes.
I have to prepare myself the day before. I know I need to go to bed a little earlier because tomorrow's gonna be a long day. I know I might need to pack some snacks because I might not have time to eat. And then when you're hungry and you're stressed, that's not fun. So, like for last night, I went to my assistant sister's wedding, and she's a hairstylist too, my assistant, of course, and she does her sister's hair. But back in the day, I used to do her sister and her mom's hair. So the family knows that these two are the hairstylists, right? They know that Autumn works with me. But I told her ahead of time, I said, they're going to ask you to do their hair. No, I'm not doing hair tomorrow. They already know. They're supposed to come with their hair done. I'm like, speaking from experience.
We've been there, done that.
That foresight. It's hard.
Yes.
They can have a plan, and I'm going to get, Shay to do my hair before I come. I said, you are the designated hairstylist in the family. They don't even know I'm coming. I was just coming to finish her mom's hair because Autumn didn't finish it. I said, I'll be there because I already know. Oh, thank you. I said, I already know. So the experience, I already knew what I was coming against.
Right.
So I packed my little tray, packed my curl lines more than I needed because I already knew what time it was.
Right.
And so, sure enough, when I got there, they throwing hair tracks flying over here. Where's my this? Where I said, and she said, Ray, I said, I got it, friend. She's like, thank you, friend, because I already knew.
Yeah, that preparation.
No matter
piece.
whatever you think, something's going to go wrong.
Right.
May or may not go wrong. Just prepare. Have your little kit, have your safety pin, have some tape, have some thread. Somebody going to lose a button. I lost a button this morning. Somebody going to lose a button.
You lost
Somebody,
a button this morning?
I lost a button this morning. We'll talk. That's another show. And so, anyway, I'm just saying all that to say, sometimes when you know you're going to go into a stressful situation, it's good to prepare. Am I right?
Absolutely.
And then also my second part question is how you talked about how it affects the body. I notice with myself when I'm stressed, it's things like acne. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
As far as anxiety, it would be more long-term stuff.
It can break your body down over time. Absolutely.
Okay.
And everyone has their own way of responding. So, for instance, with me, it's headaches or stomach pains.
Me too. Headaches.
I do feel a lot of tension in my shoulders or my neck.
Yes.
I'll have those people like, oh my gosh, you've got like gigantic bumps in your because you're just so tense, right?
Or
Because
hives.
you're holding. Yep, hives.
Okay.
It's literally whatever you're keeping in. We have to remember also that cortisol, which is a stress, is ultimately supposed to assist, right, with that stress response, right? But if you have too much of it in our bodies, that's where we start to break down.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's another thing. There's a lot going on about, hey, how can we lower our cortisol?
Mm-hmm.
How can we lower our, just these reactions we're having? And it definitely is a combination of connecting not only with your doctor, but also connecting to something that genuinely gets you to where you need to be, which is in your normalcy, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, because I'm horrible with sitting down, I actually forced myself
Me too.
to just sit and look through my phone. And that was not normal for me
Right.
to spend a day.
Right.
But I woke up, I kind of like, not really woke up, but I stood up, I was like, man, that was nice to not think of anything.
Yes.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, if I sit down, even for 2 minutes, I'm already thinking I could be
It
doing
should be
something right
doing
now.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is that? Because I have that bad too. Totally bad. Totally bad.
I know I
Like,
have-
I can't help myself.
Yeah, it's like I could be knocking something out right now.
Yes.
If
there's
I gotta
always
check an
something to do.
email or check
Right.
a DM,
Right.
respond to that client that I forgot to
Exactly.
respond to.
But let me ask you this though. What is the stigma, especially in our culture,
Yeah.
of saying I suffer from anxiety? Like there is plenty of people
There's a huge
that, you know,
yeah.
and then how do I recognize that within somebody? Because some people are not going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And so you might feel that, okay, this person's suffering from something.
Something ain't right.
You know,
Something,
so
yeah.
how do I put them in a place of comfort? Because again, as stylists, people ask us all the time, like, you know, they talk to us, right?
Yeah, we're little therapists.
But then, you know, we kind of pick it up. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? And
mhm.
so how do we deal with that appropriately
Right.
to put them in a comfort zone? Because then we are counselors at the same time. You know, we're just not
Right.
certified, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
no,
So,
like,
sometimes
as
we're just
hair-
listeners.
Yeah.
They already
You
know what they're
know,
gonna do,
Yeah.
but they just need to vent to an unbiased person. So,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a stigma
still,
that's in our culture right now that
Yeah.
I feel like let's talk about it, you know, and let's be open. But then
Right.
even for myself, I always
It's
say,
still- it's
"Oh,
still-
this is just a land of mental health now. Everybody has
Here we
mental
go.
health,
It's
blah,
all
blah,
right.
blah."
You know what?
So is it something that
Yeah.
just came up on the charts, or this is something that's been happening and we just call them say, "Oh man, they crazy as all get out."
Right.
You know, is that what
Right.
we used
Yeah.
to say? But that's really what it was this whole time.
So that is really interesting you bring that up because there's a lot of studies and a lot of people even considering like after COVID, that's when we started to realize
Especially in
that
teenagers and kids,
mental
school
health
age. Yes.
is like, oh my gosh, this is a thing.
Right.
It means
Mhm.
something because we started to see things that were not there prior to us all sitting at home. Like,
Yeah, because even my son, I'd be like, the teenagers,
Yeah.
it's like I'm almost, and I hear a lot of my client parents say that, they almost are scared to have the conversation. Like back in the day, my mom was like,
Yeah.
"Get your shit together," and
Yeah.
you know, come
There's
on
no
here.
such
And
thing.
That's right.
Now it's kind of like if I say these things, or even my voice raises
Oh.
to my son.
Oh
It's
my
like my
God.
son
Yeah,
is like,
yeah,
"Oh my
yeah.
God," you know. It's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, mom, I can't
stressed.
handle
Yeah.
this."
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, "You can't handle what?" Like we weren't even able to say that back then. So
Sure
it's
can.
like then you're scared that you know,
Yep.
oh my God, my child's gonna commit suicide now because
Yeah.
I had this hard conversation
Yes.
with them, and,
Yes.
and you know, so that brings me anxiety. It's like I want to say this thing, but how do
Right,
I
how do we go?
appropriately address it without him wanting to go jump off the curb?
Right.
You
Look,
know?
just like the TikToks, I saw the TikTok, this guy on the couch covered up in a blanket talking about my child 20 years from now at the therapist. Oh my God, my parents gave me everything.
Yeah, right.
When I wanted to do band and softball, she took me to every practice. Where?
Yeah.
You know, so
Oh,
that's what the parents
no.
are feeling like, girl,
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you couldn't say it back in the day. Just like the kids with
Yeah.
ADD and ADHD and
Yes.
everything.
Mhm.
Because I know my brother had it when we
Yeah.
were little. But, oh, that boy just needed a spanking. He just
Yeah.
need to sit down somewhere. He need a nap.
And it's so much more. You know what? I think it's not so much that it's new. It's definitely. I think we're more honed in now. We're more
Okay.
aware.
Mm-hmm.
Just like for instance, increase in autism.
Yes.
And it's not because all children are popping out autistic. It's not the case.
Is it the food?
We're not going to.
Is it the chicken nuggets? Is it-
Is it the vaccines? Is it
Is
what?
it the vaccine?
We-
Yeah. Mhm. Another show.
And so,
Yeah.
in short, it is that we have so much more information and knowledge than we did,
Mm.
and there's a little bit more of an openness than
Mhm.
there was before as well.
Okay.
So if we think about it, the fact that the generation now
Yeah.
have that ability to open up and talk about that is because there's been a big push for mental health in schools
Mm.
Yeah.
due to all the things that have been occurring.
Yeah.
back when I was in high school, 90s and no one talked about that.
No.
It was, you're the weird kid with the trench coat.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just the weird kid.
the
We
trench
didn't
Yeah.
think about it.
We didn't.
Right.
We didn't.
And then we end up having all these concerns, and Columbine happened and things like that.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
it's one of those things where it is still scary. For the most part, to even consider it, because it is a very sensitive topic,
Mhm.
which is why it's so important that therapy is looked at, because that is the job of a therapist, to push
Mhm.
those hard topics and to
Right.
talk about them
Exactly.
in a way that's safe.
Right.
Letting, because not everyone has that understanding of what it feels like to handle someone who has suicidal ideation.
Right.
And not to say that the therapists are the mean all, but there are ways in which we can support that person
Yeah.
versus outside of, like, as a parent, I know I would have my own anxiety
Yeah.
cry if I had to, like, oh my gosh, what's going on with my daughter?
Right.
And then sometimes I have, anxiety about approaching a certain topic,
Yes.
whether a friend, a coworker, or
Exactly.
whatever. It's kind of like I'm over here like, okay, let me paint, because I'm always the ones that paints 5 scenarios
Before you get to the
before
point.
I get to the thing, because it's kind of like, okay, if I say it like this is
And that
what's gonna
adds
happen.
to your stress.
Absolutely. If I say it like this, how they gonna respond? If I say it like that, how they gonna respond?
Right.
Instead of just being authentically me and be like, look, you get on my goddamn nerves.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And I don't like that, and you need to stop doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, it begins with, how do we become our authentic selves just with ourselves?
Right. And be okay, because sometimes when people say stuff to me, I'll be like, damn, did you
Yeah.
think about that before you said that to me?
Right.
It just
Right.
like they have no problems.
No
It's
filter,
almost like,
honestly, yeah.
is it because then they're so secure in themselves and they don't give a damn if you get mad or not? So that's why they're
Yeah,
just
what
gonna
is
say
it?
what it is.
Or
Because I'm like, or is it just like you're just a jerk for real?
Right.
So
Because I'll
it's,
say some
you
stuff
know,
and I'll be like, was that rude? I'll ask, was that rude?
yeah, you
She
know
was
what
like,
I'm
no,
saying?
friend, you said what you had to say. But she, the young bucks. No, friend, you was direct.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I'm running a business too. So, what, I mean,
Yeah, it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's that fine line between expressing and getting off of me
Right.
versus, am I being rude, or I'm like, I just don't give a damn.
Right,
You know,
right,
I
right.
I want to make sure I'm in proper etiquette, because then I might be saying that to somebody who is having anxiety and stress,
And that'll be
and
that-
then I'll be just like
that'll
the
be
thing
that
that just make them
13th
want to jump off the curb.
That'll be that 13th
Right.
reason.
Yeah,
That'll be it.
For sure, one of the things that I have learned over the years, not just because of my training, it's that when we want to be authentic in a conversation, we're honest with the fact that this might hurt you. I don't mean to have
so
that hurt
lead with
you.
that first.
You're leading with it. You're also giving them information about where you are, and your purpose. However, having tact is just, let's just have tact.
Yeah. The delivery.
Just
The
delivery is
yeah.
everything.
right, and then recognize that you are responsible for what comes out of your mouth.
Mhm.
Oh, a lot of people don't believe that.
No,
And then they hit you with the, I'm sorry you feel that way.
no.
Oh,
Or if
that
you
burns my chops.
Makes
Do you hear me?
my ass itch.
Yes.
That's
That's a good
extreme
one.
for me. Oh.
That's a
No,
good one.
don't do that
I'm
to me.
telling
You know
you,
what I'm saying?
don't.
Because if
Yeah.
I'm saying that, I'm receiving this in a whole wrong manner. Don't be like, I'm sorry you feel that way. No, that seems very insensitive,
Yes,
very rude,
yes.
very like,
Right.
Or
I
if-
really don't give a damn
Or
what you
if
feel.
I made you feel, there's no if. I definitely felt that way.
Yeah.
There's no, I'm sorry if you feel that way. There's
Right.
no if. It's a definite.
Yeah.
I feel that way. And
Right.
you're the cause of it.
Yeah.
But that's deep what you said though. Like you have to be responsible because a lot of people don't feel that way.
No.
They don't feel they're responsible. That's what it is. And however you took it is how you took it. That's your bad. That's your problem.
Right. Because there's a lot of that now too. Everybody just wants to be like, oh, I'm just gonna say what I
what's
want to
on
say.
my mind.
You
yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
there is no formulation for
Yeah.
the tact. So I'm like, I almost feel like we just need a tactful class on how to speak to people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Gosh.
saying?
I know for me, with I have 3 daughters,
Yeah.
right? That they are different. I can't speak to the young one the way I
Right.
speak to the older one.
Right.
I cannot speak to the older one the way I speak with my middle girl.
Right.
It's all 3 of them are different. There's a delivery, and I know what tone I can take.
Right.
And then there's one that I'm really like, are you okay today? You know,
Yeah.
you just got to
Right.
know your audience as well, and I think that
Exactly.
helps with the delivery.
Even in
Right.
friendships too.
Oh yeah,
So much so.
so much so.
You know, in your marriage.
Oh, God. If you want to be on the show or you have a show idea, email us at transparencyinthechair@outlook.com, or you can visit our website at transparencyinthechair.hair. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, but watch our full episodes on YouTube. Transparency in the Chair, y'all. Let's get transparent.
Put all your stress aside and let the music take you anywhere like tide. Cause it's me they calling the real loco. Mass play when I on the floor. Gal bend over and touch their toe. Everybody don't know the flow. Party turn up and turn over. Over and over, over.